is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on sportstalksc.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil, Chris, and Pat with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome into Sports Talk here on Sports Talk Media Network. Founders Sunday football Friday night, the day after Thanksgiving. Looking at a great Thanksgiving. Family and friends and turkey and the football and everything else. Of course, this is Friday before the huge game at Clemson tomorrow between the Tigers and the Gamecocks. Tonight we unveil our picks for that game and the other game on our sheet, but primarily South Carolina on our minds tonight. Good morning to some of you from Dave and Buster's from Greenville. What a beautiful place this is. Dave and Buster's in Greenville, Columbia, and another beach from the Greenville location. They have been so hospitable, just like other locations. This place is fantastic, great place to come to with family, with kids, friends. You know, they can put all you need. You want something to eat? You got it. You want something to got it. You want to watch any number of sporting events on television? They've got it. You want something to drink? Besides soda and juice, they got it. The beautiful thing is you can separate. You can go to the arcade. You can unload the bar. You can be with the family, dining room. The place is huge. So well laid out. So well done. So fresh. All the locations. We are here in Greenville tonight. Come on up to beat the traffic. Coming across the state from Clemson at 12 o'clock kickoff tomorrow, which is no fun for Clemson for 12 o'clock kickoff. Give us the traffic report very quickly. Heavy traffic coming through out of Columbia. Construction about 46 is a problem. However, the traffic was flowing as long as it was an accident. There was no backup until you got to the intersection of 26. 385, for some reason, we had a backup there this afternoon. Once you got on 385, it was clear sailing in Greenville. Now, what's happening further south on 85, I don't know. They go down that far. But sure, traffic is heavy going into Clemson tomorrow. The parking lots, I believe, open at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. So plan accordingly and just take your time and be patient. You'll get to your spot and get to the stadium in time for the action inside Death Valley. What action are we expecting? Are we expecting a Clemson run? Are we expecting another Gamecock surprise? Are we expecting a down to the wire type of game? Are we expecting Clemson to put the Gamecocks to sleep as they have done in the last 7 meetings, put them to sleep pretty early? That is the big question of the night. That is something we will discuss here as we move on through the program. We'll have our football filibuster at 6:30. No Lee Sterling tonight. Lee is taking the holiday weekend off, so nothing from our man Lee Sterling tonight. And in the bottom of hour number 7:30, we will have Birdies and Bogies Thanksgiving edition with George Bryant, and we talk about golf around South Carolina and around other parts of the world as well. So we have for you tonight. Plus, of course, recruiting for you. Clemson picked up another commitment yesterday from Tyler Brown, the speedy wide receiver from Greenville. We'll go over the recruiting report for you tonight a little bit later on. And if you want to join us, you want to jump on board, 888-898-2525. That is our number, the South Carolina Education Lottery number here on Sports Talk. And you can join us there, get in your final picks for the big game on Saturday. How you think it's going to go? I tell you, just from our panel of experts, there's many more picks for the Gamecocks. That's just the point. That's taking the 14.5 points. But there seems to be some confidence about the Gamecocks' ability to play with the Tigers tomorrow. You haven't had too many callers took the Gamecocks. He had won 58-48. I think Gamecock Larry picked the Gamecock 63-17, but mostly it's been Clemson 38-3, 42-10, 31-17, 70-28, 28-14, 63-38, and 48-17. So it's been by and large in favor of the Tigers. Chris, the good folks at Clemson in their game notes put out some interesting data that I tweeted out the other day because I thought it was interesting data related to the history between the Gamecocks and the Tigers. Of course, this will be game number 119 in the series. It was the second longest uninterrupted series in the country until the COVID interrupted in 2020. So that's saying this great rivalry was interrupted for no good reason, and it's now, it's eliminated as part of the record book between South Carolina and Clemson. Of course, we all know that Clemson has won 7 in a row. No team in the series has won 8 in a row. The Tigers will be trying to make history by beating the Gamecocks on Saturday. And there's a few other things related to the winning streak Clemson that I wanted to touch on here. And it's all, of course, in favor of the Tigers. But a couple of interesting things. Number one, Gamecocks have scored a touchdown in the series since the fourth quarter of the 2018 game. The average score over the 7-game winning streak has been 41-15 in favor of Clemson. And let's see, the Tigers have, like, if you want to break it down, into days and weeks and years, the amount of time that Clemson has spent with this winning streak against the Gamecocks is something very, very new to them. So this is from Clemson now, from their pregame notes. Clemson enters the game. No, he's still contributing. Clemson enters the game. Clemson enters the game having not surrendered a point to the Gamecocks in 1,092 days. Not surrendered a touchdown in 1,462 days. Not lost to the Gamecocks in 3,283 days. Clemson will have led the all-time series with the Gamecocks 45,299 consecutive days, 124 years and 9 days. USC won the series opener in 1896. Clemson even the series in 1897. The Tigers won the third game of the series in 1898 on November 17th. To take a 2-1 series lead, and that lead has not been relinquished. South Carolina doesn't put as much information in their game notes about history as Clemson does. But you know what it's time to do? It's time to get right to it. It's time to get right to it. No sense in delaying it. Here we go. I've looked at it, thought about it, broken it down. I regurgitated the information over and over again. I've evaluated Gamecocks 31 Tigers 28 there, I said. Gamecocks 31 Tigers 28. That's how I see it. Mitch Cheater, the field goal with 37 seconds to go into the field. And that'll win it for Gamecocks 31-28. You might be saying, what in the world are you thinking about? Well, I mean, look. 8 years in a row is something new. I know every year is individual. 8 years in a row is tough to do. South Carolina, the way they played against Tennessee, got to believe that's the team that'll come on the field. That'll be a pretty good team against Clemson. I'm not sold on Clemson as a super elite team. They are hovering, number 8 in the ranking, and I'm hovering. The committee doesn't think they're a super team. I mean, they've got 2 teams with 2 losses ranked ahead of them in the ranking. They've had a number of close calls. And when I was evaluating teams, I looked at where South Carolina fits on Clemson's schedule. What teams are they equipped with? What teams? And I looked at Florida State. I looked at Syracuse. I looked at Wake Forest. I looked at NC State. And none of South Carolina did any of those 4 teams. All 4 of them played Clemson very close. And what team does Clemson equate to in the Gamecock schedule in terms of what they are? Good thing. Kind of settled on, well, the best I can come up with Tennessee, because they're not as good as Georgia. They've got offensive weaponry like Tennessee. They do have a better defense than Tennessee. That was the closest game I could. So I think if South Carolina is not intimidated, isn't freaked out over being Death Valley, if they don't give up a quick touchdown behind the hole, and then they have to dictate what South Carolina does offensively, I think they're going to be right in there. I think they'll pull the upset. Now, Clemson comes out and is flipping on the legs, hitting some passes, able to run the football. They're able to break those 53 and punch and runs. If South Carolina's defensive front is not able to handle Clemson's defensive front and linebacker pressure coming in, and they're able to get to Rattler and make them uncomfortable and force them into mistakes, and if Clemson does not allow South Carolina to have success in the fake game and the special teams, then I think Clemson will end up winning. But I'm laying on the Gamecocks this time. I picked Clemson on 11 years in a row. It's time to pick the Gamecocks. I think this is probably the best chance. Here's during the streak, 31-28. They win it. Okay, I've said it. That's that. What do you got, Chris?
Well, Clemson fans obviously don't want to hear this, Phil, but in terms of the health of the rivalry and all the stuff you just laid out about how dominant Clemson has been, the reason that our rivalry here in South Carolina does not get the national acclaim it deserves, I mean, it is be-all, end-all within the border of our state. But the problem is it is so lopsided on one side of the coin that most folks don't look at it as a big, big deal. And I think that's part of the reason we don't get, say, the play that Auburn, Alabama does. Let's face it, going into this weekend, which game do you think is probably going to be more competitive? I would think it's Carolina Clemson long before it's going to be Alabama and Auburn. Mm-hmm. But with all of that being said, this is a show-me game for the Gamecocks, much like last week was. And I think that the reason that Clemson has been so good in these games, and Clemson has been so good in all their games over the last decade with Dabo Swinney, they go into contests like this expecting to win. South Carolina, I think when they have faced Clemson over the last several years, they hope to win. That's a huge, huge difference. And to me, it boils down to how does Brandon Streeter run that offense? If he thinks he can get cute, wants to throw it around and maybe match Spencer Rattler and show off that DJ Uyunglele is just as good a quarterback as what Spencer Rattler threw out there against Tennessee last week, I think that is a major mistake. South Carolina is 110th nationally against the run. Clemson's got the best stable of running backs, I think, in the ACC. They need to put those guys on display, grind the game down. They don't have to win 48-10. They don't have to blow South Carolina off the field. They don't control their own destiny to get into the college football playoff. So blowout wins this week and next week against North Carolina not going to improve their lot in life at all. They've got to have help in front of them. So just go out, take care of business, do what you do well, and that's run the football. And I think that's what they'll ultimately do. And I think Clemson probably wins somewhere in the neighborhood of 31-17.
All right.
Right on the number.
Who do you think has the better quarterback in the game? I mean, if you looked at what Rattler did last week and what Uyunglele has been doing, which quarterback can line it up?
Well, can I take the Spencer Rattler versus Tennessee only? Because if that's the case, there's no question it's Spencer Rattler.
You got to go by what you just saw last week.
There's no question it's Spencer Rattler. And the passing offense for South Carolina much better than what Uyunglele and the Clemson passing offense has done.
Yeah.
But that's my point. That should not be on display tomorrow if you're the Tigers. Just get behind that offensive line, go run the football, let Will Shipley and Phil Maffa take you to your 8th win in the series, and go get ready for North Carolina next week. And you can almost run the same game plan against the Tar Heels next week that you run this week against the Gamecocks.
Yeah, Tar Heels are losing at home to NC State, which is playing its fourth string quarterback, though they did use Jack Chambers on their opening drive, the former Charleston Southern quarterback. They used him as a running quarterback to score on their opening drive. And North Carolina is trailing NC State 17 to 10, 10:37 to go in the fourth quarter. Missouri is leading Arkansas 29-27 with 9:15 to play in the ballgame. I cannot believe that Arkansas might only finish 6-6 this season after what I saw in week 2 out there. They look like $1,000,000, and now they look like trash. I mean, they've had some injuries at quarterback, but gosh, they have gone down. And if Missouri wins, they become bowl eligible, and they'll be 6-6. You've got Arizona leading Arizona State 38-35, 8:29 to go in the fourth. Nebraska is leading Iowa 24-7, and that's toward the end of the third quarter. Reports that Matt Rule is strongly interested in that Nebraska job, may be the guy that they're going to hire. And then I had someone point out to me today that they had heard, or maybe they're guessing or whatever, but Rule and Satterfield at South Carolina are very close. So this person said he could see Marcus Satterfield perhaps joining Rule at Nebraska if that happens. California leading UCLA 21-17 at the half. Texas beat Baylor 38-27. And Tulane rallied to beat Cincinnati 27-24. So I think those two teams turn around and play for that league championship next week.
I think Central Florida may be in the mix too. In the Atlantic, I'd have to the American rather. I'd have to double check. And if I'm not mistaken, that is Tulane's first ever win against an AP top 25 team. I think I heard that stat correct, that they were 0-62 all time.
What a job that guy.
Yeah, there's no question. He's your national coach of the year.
9-2 at Tulane. Boise State finishing 9-3 regular season, beat Utah State 42-23. Tonight, Florida and Florida State play in Tallahassee. Basketball this afternoon, South Carolina defeats Upstate after trailing at the half. The Gamecocks much better in the second half, and they beat Upstate by a final of 68-53. The Gamecocks were down 3 at the half, outscored Upstate by 18 in the second half. Gamecocks were led by G.G. Jackson with 22 points. He also had 6 rebounds. Hayden Brown had 15 points, and Jacoby Wright had 10 for the Gamecocks, the 3 that were in double figures. And
they were playing shorthanded too, Phil. They were missing 2 of their point guards, Michi Johnston and also Chico Carter, unavailable. And Bozeman's Verdonk may have been the reason that they were able to pull away in the second half. Huge second half for them. Had 8 points, matching a career high. Also had 7 rebounds and 4 assists. They played very well for the Gamecocks off the bench.
All right, and Gainey was the leading scorer. No, I'm sorry. Langlace was the leading scorer for Upstate with 14, and Gainey had 13. So the Gamecocks get back on the winning track after going winless in Charleston in that classic last week. They win it over Upstate 68-53. Pat, are you ready to give your pick for tomorrow, or you want to hold that for a little bit later in the program?
No, and I actually agree with almost everything that Chris said. I'm also curious for both teams. I think most fans out there is which team or which version of which team will show up and play better tomorrow, and also which quarterback will show up. Will we see the DJ that struggled in back-to-back games and was benched, or will we see the good DJ that has popped up early in the season in the last couple games? Will Clemson be able to figure out their fumbling problem, or will they continue to put the ball on the ground tomorrow? And the weather now clearing up. Initially, earlier in the week, it looked like there was a near guaranteed chance of rain and heavy wind. It looks like that now is being forecasted for Sunday instead of tomorrow. So that, if the weather had stayed bad, you would think would favor Clemson in that running game. But now that it seems to be clear skies, that may actually favor Spencer Rattler in this offense if we see the same version from last week. But another stat I'd like to add there is South Carolina has allowed 200-plus yards rushing 47 times in 110 games. Clemson has accounted for 6 of those in 7 opportunities over that stretch. Clemson's defense on the other side has allowed just 11 200-yard rushing games in 123 games over that same period. I think it may end up coming down to the health of your two running backs Beal Smith and Marshawn Lloyd for South Carolina, and whether they're able to establish any sort of a ground game. If they're not, I think Wes Goodwin is going to have his front four pin their ears back and bring pressure on Spencer Rattler all day long. And I think he's going to be on his backside a lot. And if that's the case, if South Carolina cannot get that running game established, then I think we'll see Clemson pull away. 27-13 Clemson is what I'm predicting. I do foresee it being kind of a slow start, but then Clemson starting to pull away in the second half. And again, so they will – I am actually going to take South Carolina because the 14.5 points was the spread, but I do think Clemson wins by 14.
Okay. And Phil, let me slide in one thing real quick, too. The one equalizer that South Carolina has over Clemson is that point you brought up at the end. The reason you believe the Gamecocks win is a field goal by Mitch Jeter. Special teams at South Carolina has got to be special tomorrow. They've got to make a play or two, whether it's a fake punt, fake field goal, block punt, something to give their offense and that team some juice. They've got to find a way to utilize that special teams unit, which has been terrific this season. It's got to be special tomorrow.
Yeah, that could be a difference maker if you have something happen. And I also believe, too, you're going to see South Carolina go for it on fourth down quite a bit. I think you're going to see Shane Beamer just say the heck with it. We're going to be aggressive. I think his mindset's going to be like it was against Tennessee. As he said afterwards, the mindset was play aggressive, call plays aggressive, make decisions aggressive. I think they'll do the same thing against Clemson and see how it rolls, And I think they'll be in a better mindset. He said this week, one of the mistakes he made last year was after they beat Auburn the week before this game, they never kind of let that game go, and they weren't really right for Clemson. They didn't handle that Auburn win. That was obviously a big win for them. I know Auburn was, struggling a bit, but still for South Carolina at that stage, beating a named team like Auburn after beating Florida, they were kind of up in the clouds. They never really, according to Beamer, never really came down and got ready for Clemson the right way. I think that they're going to be much more focused. Satterfield said this week in practice that Rattler was zoned in like he was last week. He had hit, what did he say at a practice, had thrown 60 to 65 passes with only one ball hitting the ground, and that was a drop. So a focused, sharp Spencer Rattler. And I give South Carolina the overall edge in the receiving core against Clemson. No, they're not playing Clemson receivers, but, I think as a group, they showed out last week. If those receivers catch everything like they did last week, everything thrown at them, South Carolina will move the football. They're going to have to give Rattler time. They did give him good protection against Tennessee. They formed some good pockets against Tennessee. Can they do the same? How much is Wes Goodwin going to shoot the linebackers? How much is he going to bring pressure? If that's the case, we'll see how South Carolina corresponds. If they can't block it, then it'll be a long day for South Carolina. I'm just going on the hunch that coming off the Tennessee game, I think, revealed more of what this South Carolina team, I think, really is versus, say, what we saw against Florida, where they just totally blanked out. If they blank out against Clemson tomorrow, it'll be over by midway in the second quarter, and we'll know. But I don't expect that to happen. I really don't. I think South Carolina's going to come to play. I think they got that kind of confidence. And I know Clemson's going to come to play. But here's the difference. You know what to expect from Clemson. You kind of know what they're going to do. You kind of know how they're going to approach the game. You do not know what to expect from South Carolina, right? Are you going to see the Tennessee Gamecocks? Or are you going to see the Florida Gamecocks, Chris? That's the big question mark going in.
My point about Clemson going into this game for years, knowing they were going to win, expecting to win, and South Carolina hoping to win. When that mindset changes, and maybe it changes tomorrow, Phil, not from Clemson's perspective, but when South Carolina's mindset, when they actually believe going in, we're not going to play them competitively. We're going to beat them. We're going to win this game.
Just like I'm sure they felt that way against Tennessee. Nobody else would have believed them, but they sure did it. And that's the mindset they've got to have tomorrow to make this fun. And like I said earlier, from the health of the rivalry, USC needs to win tomorrow. They really do. It's time. You need to start seeing this shift back the other way just so it's fun for those of us who do what we do every year to come in and not expect one team or the other to be more dominant than the other team.
Yeah. Well, obviously, Clemson fans say the hell with the hell.
I understand.
They want the rivalry to remain sick as long as they're winning. Got to hit the break. Football filibuster coming up. Our picks, David Shelton and more.
Point weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
That's what I thought too.
Your Friday forecast, on and off showers for us.
I was about to send a note. Why did you and I even show up?
High reaching 61. For tonight, mild with a low of 51. The rain continues tomorrow and even into Sunday morning. Our high temps will
Well, and you also forgot to call the police department and let them know we'd be in the studio.
As an organ donor, your story doesn't have to end. The good in you can live on.
Have the police shown up?
And restore sight and health for many more. Sign up right now online as an organ
okay.
donor. You'll be happy you did. Just maybe someone else will be happy too. Go to organdonor.gov. It's
okay.
U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Health
What a mess.
Administration.
With SRN News, I'm Jason Walker. With several mass murders still being investigated in the United States, Brazil has also been hit with violence. Authorities say a gunman has fatally shot 2 teachers and 1 student.
North Carolina just tied the game.
11 more in 2 separate
Or
schools.
they're an extra point away from tying it.
Shootings taking place early Friday at a public school with elementary students and then a private school, both in the small town of Lara Cruz. A woman has died, a man rescued and treated for hypothermia after they were caught in bitter.
No, I said in there actually at an extra point away because evidently NC State missed a field goal and the guy had not missed a field goal all year. And he missed his first one that would have made it 20-10 and would have made this basically irrelevant, the touchdown they just scored.
As the Narrows on Wednesday. This is SRN.
Shoot, I'm more interested to talk with David about the high school games tonight.
Are you looking for free checking and free savings? Dave Ramsey here, telling you to go see my friends at Palmetto.
You knocked it out, man. It's like you memorized it. You sound like Timber Ray Jr.
A mega bank that's so big they lose the ability to treat you like a human being. At Palmetto Citizens, you're not just a number, you're a member. Join today at any of their 14 locations or at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Open enrollment.
How was your Thanksgiving?
Using frustrating time, but it didn't have to be. You're seeing celebrities.
Oh, it was fun. Traveling back from Missouri yesterday.
Blueprint. They help with Mom's Medicare plan. I called them, gave them the basics on Mom and her meds. They did everything else.
Yeah, well, actually, across the street, there's a restaurant called Rotelli's. It's actually a Italian restaurant, pasta and that kind of stuff. But they're big supporters of the athletic department, and they actually did a turkey meal for the team. So I had Heidi come down to meet us, and we went over there and had dinner with the team, and then came on back. It was actually cool. Yeah, enjoyed that.
All over the Midlands. If Tim can
No, he had to stay here in his crate.
If he can't help you today and thinks you're already in a better plan than he can find for you, he'll tell you because it's the right thing to do. Next time around, you'll remember his honesty. You'll call him when you need his help again. MedicareBlueprint.com or give him a call. 803-708-7398. That's 708-7398 for Medicare Blueprint.
It's November. Time for us to get thankful. And nobody would be more thankful than a dog or cat you adopt from Columbia Animal Services. Time to add a fur baby to your family. Enjoy the turkey, the cooler tips, and the football. And give a puppy or a kitty cat a new home. The Thankful for Home Adoption Special lets you get your new dog or cat from the 21st through the end of the month for just $20. Visit petfinder.com and make your selection. That's petfinder.com. And thanks.
Oil investments involve a high degree of risk and actual results may vary.
Oil keeps going up as the Russia conflict escalates. Get in on the next major oil boom now and help the U.S.
I should have left my pick alone.
That can potentially pay you monthly income for up to 20 or more years.
When I sent my picks in this morning, I was actually over at the urgent care because I'm just tired of this cold. And I sent in NC State, and I thought, God, what an idiot. So I changed it to North Carolina. Wish I had now.
Needs your investment in oil and is allowing you to write off nearly 100% of your investment in the first year. Goldman Sachs is projecting oil to go up to $100 a barrel. Call 800-278-7455. Call now and learn how to deduct 100% of your investment and create 20 or more years of potential monthly income. Call 800-278-7455. You'll be calling directly to the home office of Encore Energy. That's 800-278-7455.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. It is Sports Talk tonight on the road. We're up in Greenville at Dave and Buster's over here off of Woodruff Road in a beautiful little shopping strip. And this is a fantastic place to come and eat and drink and play and have some good fun and watch the football games, other sporting events all weekend long. Looks like North Carolina just punched in a touchdown against NC State, but the extra point appeared to be deflected, but we have a running into the kicker. No, extra point was good, but we have a running into the kicker, it looks like. 17-17, State at North Carolina battling it out in Chapel Hill.
Phil, quick note about that. Right before North Carolina scored, Christopher Dunn, who had not missed a field goal all season, missed a field goal that would have put them up 20-10 at the time. He became just the third Division I kicker with more than 20 field goals to finish a regular season without a miss until because he'd hit one earlier in the ballgame, but missed that one. And so now North Carolina's tied.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to leave the point on the board. I think, did they call a penalty? It looked like they ran into the kicker on the extra point. Did they throw a flag? I couldn't tell.
There was a flag. I'm not sure if it was for running into the kicker or offside against NC State. Either way, it's 17-17 now. And NC State's got the ball with just under 8 minutes to play.
All right, very good. It is time now for another edition of the football filibuster, the Palmetto Bowl rivalry edition, starring Governor Jim Hodges and Attorney General Alan Wilson. Good to have the two of you with us. We're at Dave and Buster's, so I think we should open up a restaurant called Jim and Alan's or Alan and Jim's. What do you think? What would you serve, Governor, if you were a restaurateur?
Well, if you look at my record on Sports Talk, I would serve a dose of humility. I'm not doing very well.
Well, you know, you're still leading. You're 2-3 last week, 34-26 overall. General, if you were running a restaurant, what would you serve?
Well, I don't know what I would serve, but I'd certainly be eating humble pie right now. The governor has really taken me to task the last couple of weeks, but hopefully we can turn it around this week.
Yeah, or maybe you would say you'd be eating some crow, as the case may be.
No doubt.
Yeah. All right, you, sir, last week you were 2-3 as well, 28-32. I think the Gamecocks bit both of you because you didn't believe they could do it against Tennessee. Neither of you, as I recall, thought the Gamecocks would take down the Vols the way they did.
I did. I took the points. I certainly didn't think they were going to win, but I thought the points were too many. But nevertheless, both of us thought they were going to lose, and we were both pleasantly surprised.
I bet.
And Phil, I have to say that I thought that it was going to be a blowout, and so therefore I was right. There was a blowout. So
That's right. Just on the other side. Okay. Well, let's get to it. We got 5 for you, and against the spread. And General, we'll let you go first. You're down by 6 games here. Now we still have the championship picks next week, and then we'll have our bowl picks in December. There's still time. I always say this is not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's all about strategy and when to make your move. But you're down 6 games to the governor. If you're going to grab the Corn Cup, you need to start to heat up here in late November. So you got Michigan at Ohio State. The Buckeyes are favored by 7.5.
I'm going to go with the home team on this one, so give me the Buckeyes.
Buckeyes, you got them, Governor.
I'm going to take Michigan. I think that's too many points for a rivalry game like this, and Michigan's impressed me. So I think Ohio State will win, but it'll be closer than that.
Okay, yeah. I tend to lean with you on that one. Governor, let's go to tonight's game in Tallahassee. Florida State, red hot all of a sudden. Back in the rankings, maybe starting to to show a little bit of their past and looking ahead to their future, and they're favored by 10.5 over the Gators. The Gators are like the Gamecocks. You don't know what you're going to get.
I don't think you're going to get much good tonight from the Gators. I think Florida State's going to spank them pretty good, so I'll take Florida State.
General.
I'm with the governor. Florida State, clearly.
Seminoles for both of you. Let's go to the Iron Bowl. Auburn getting 22 at Alabama. And I don't know if Lane Kiffin's going to be the coach or not. The TV reporter down in Mississippi who reported it last week said it would happen today. It hasn't happened yet. Lane Kiffin has tried to deny it every which way he can. So I guess it hasn't happened yet. Alabama favored by 22. General, you say what?
I don't know. This one I struggled with. That's a large spread, but I'm going to go with Alabama. I think they can cover it.
Alabama, okay. 2-loss Alabama against a multi-loss Auburn. Governor.
I'm going to go with Auburn. I just think it's too many points, and Alabama has been a little shaky this year. And it's a rivalry game. Last game for Cadillac Williams. Isn't he the one coaching them now?
Yeah.
At Auburn. So I think they'll keep it under 22. So I'll take Auburn.
All right. I think Alabama's going to roll it, and I think their defense is going to clamp down on Auburn. Auburn's not going to have a chance to breathe. We go to Governor. Coastal Carolina at James Madison. I misread this earlier and thought the Shots were the favorites, but they're not. They are 14-point underdogs. I guess Vegas concerned about the Coastal quarterback situation. And I know not having Grayson McCall is not good, but the other two guys who are playing quarterback for Coastal doing a pretty good job, and they're getting 14. What do you think?
I'm with you. I think that's too many points. I'm going to take Coastal on this one. I don't know that they'll win, but I think they'll keep it to a touchdown.
All right, General?
Too many points. Give me Coastal.
Coastal. Very good. So you're only differing on Michigan and Ohio State at this point, taking us to our final selection for this week. Gamecocks at Tigers. Tigers favored by 14.5, looking to go 8 straight against the Gamecocks. I think that some people in our audience weren't born the last time the Gamecocks beat the Tigers. They'd be children, but that means they weren't born 8 years ago. General, you say what, sir?
2 weeks ago, I bet on the Gamecocks and I lost. Last week, I bet against the Gamecocks and I lost. So surely I can't go 3-0 here, or 0-3. They pulled me back in, Phil. They pulled me back in. I do feel like it's an uphill battle, but I think they can make this an interesting game. So give me the Gamecocks on the point.
Gamecocks taking the 14.5. What about straight up?
I'm not ready to go there yet. Just too soon.
Yeah. All right. I bet your Governor's going to take them straight up. What do you say, Governor?
I'm not that bold, but I'm with the General on this. The line's been tightening up during the week on this, so they know something. And I do think Carolina can keep it within, 14 or 14.5. So I'm going to take the Gamecocks to cover. I don't think they'll win, but, I'll take the Gamecocks on the points.
Yeah.
I don't think that they'll win, but I think they'll make it competitive, which is a big improvement over where we've been the last 4 or 5 years.
All right, very good. Time for amendments. So you got a lot to work with here, General, if you want, because you only disagree on Michigan and Ohio State. So you both take the Gamecocks. Oh, I take that back. You disagreed on Auburn, Alabama. So you got 3 to choose from. You both took the Gamecocks, Coastal, and Florida State. Any amendments, General, that you would like to make?
No, I think I'm going to hold.
You're going to hold. Governor, any change, Coastal or Florida State or Gamecocks?
No, I think this is going to be a weekend of some real tight games in these rivalries, which will be great. So I'm gonna stick.
You're going to stick. Fellas, we hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Did you eat a lot of turkey, Governor?
I'm in New York. We're visiting my son. We're all up here visiting my son and a couple of nieces. So we had a great Thanksgiving. We ate over at my niece's house yesterday and heading home tomorrow. I'll get home probably for the second half of the game.
Nice. You're going to fly right over. Well, you won't fly over Death Valley, but you'll fly over Williams-Brice, an empty Williams-Brice. General, did you eat a ton yesterday?
Yeah, needless to say, that wasn't a good weekend for calories at the Wilson house. We had a great Thanksgiving with our family, and then spent the rest of the day putting up Christmas. So it's been a good week here.
Well, that is fantastic. We thank both of you once again for being with us. Enjoy the rest of the holiday weekend, and we will talk to you next week for championship weekend. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Governor Hodges, Attorney General Wilson, and they're both taking the Gamecocks and the points, Coastal and the points. They're both taking Florida State, laying the points. And Governor is taking Auburn, and those 22, those look awfully big to him. I don't think that's enough. I think Alabama's going to crush Auburn.
I think you'll be surprised with Auburn tomorrow. I think they come out and play hard for Cadillac Williams because I wonder if the players don't want him to get that job full time.
Yeah, they probably do. He's not, but they probably
Right. Yeah.
wanted to. And then Michigan, Ohio State. I think that game's going to be so close. I'll take Michigan. Give me the points there. I'll take Michigan in the 7.
Really good defense Michigan has.
And let's see, as far as the Sports Talk Pick'em Challenge, let me touch on that very quickly, and then we're going to get to our man David Shelton after the break. So as we go into rivalry weekend, it's still Smitty leading the way. A 3-2 week for him leaves him at 39-21. Okay, so he's got a pretty healthy lead. My goodness, he's routing us. Next would be the Big Kahuna, Bobby Harton. He was 2-3 last week, 32-28. And next would be Fran, the money coach Halloran, a 1-4 week, but he is 30-30. So he's sitting right there at 500. Then comes the folks sitting with 29 wins. Gentleman Jim Corbett, who was 2-3 last week, and I was 2-3 last week, and I've got 29-31 like Jim. Then your 28s. Chris, a 1-4 week for you. You're 28-32. Pat, you were 3-2 last week. You're 28-32. Kev Cohen was 1-4, 28-32. And the bad boy, Alan Smothers, 1-4 last week, 28-32. And then that takes us to Teddy Hefner, 0-5 last week.
Ouch.
Teddy with the collar, 0-5, drops him to 25-35. He's tied with Dr. Rick. That's appropriate. 1-4, and DeRick 25-35, and then that finally takes us to the cellar dweller once again is Pete Yanity, also an 0-5 week for Mr. Yanitator, 23-37 for Pete. For Pete's sake, Pete, what are you doing? Okay.
And by the way, Phil, one quick thing I wanted to point out. You mentioned this earlier in the show. They are actually opening the parking lots at Clemson tomorrow at 6 a.m. So you can just drive on over there. Yeah, as soon as you get done with the broadcast tonight, just go on over there and hang out.
That sounds like a plan for me. I plan on getting there as early as possible. So
yeah, 6 a.m. Yes. Yes, sir. 6 a.m.
Appreciate you sharing that. So as far as our picks for this week, I told you my pick, South Carolina. I've got Gamecocks, Alabama, and Florida, and I took North Carolina, laying the 6.5. That doesn't look great right now. Chris, you're taking the Tigers, Coastal. You're taking Auburn. You're taking Florida State, and you took NC State. Let's see, Pat. You took Clemson. You took James Madison. You're taking Alabama. You're taking Florida.
No. You have these all backwards. I had, you're reading everyone. I had USC. I had Coastal, Auburn, Florida State, and North Carolina.
I got you.
And while we're at it, I'd appreciate you leaving it alone, but I actually, in fairness, did send a change. I did actually pick North Carolina too. So, yeah, that was a mistake. I should have left NC State alone.
So which one should I count on your list?
You count the North Carolina one. That's the one I sent last. So I'll be honorable here.
So you did not change it to North Carolina State?
No, I started with NC State and changed to, and I wanted to change to North Carolina.
Okay, well, I've made that change for you then, my friend.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Kevin Cohen is taking the Gamecocks, Coastal, Auburn, Florida State, North Carolina. Big Kahuna is taking the Gamecocks, Coastal, Alabama, Florida, and North Carolina. Fran's got the Gamecocks. A lot of people taking the Gamecocks and the points. James Madison, Alabama, Florida, and NC State. Teddy's got the Tigers, Coastal, Bama, Florida State, Tar Heels, Smothers with the Tigers, Coastal, Alabama, Florida, and NC State. Pete's got the Gamecocks, Coastal, Alabama, Florida State, and North Carolina. And Jim is rolling with the Gamecocks, Coastal, Auburn, Florida State, and North Carolina. Let's hit our break. On the other side, David Shelton will join us. We'll take David to the top of the hour. We'll talk about the high school playoffs tonight. We're into the upper and lower state finals. Only, 20 teams left playing high school football in South Carolina tonight. And then we'll be set for the state championship games coming up next week. David Shelton coming up after the break here on Sports Talk tonight from Dave & Buster's in Greenville. Back in a moment.
Yeah, I should have kept my mouth shut, Pat. Because I had him confused.
You were my role model, my best friend, and biggest supporter. You filled my days with unconditional love. And you also prepared for the day when you couldn't be here. Because of the woman you were back then, I'm able to.
Yeah, I thought when he said that, I'd seen it earlier on Twitter.
Made this moment.
The parking lots were going to be way early.
Set your family up for life.
Well, and I thought because Tiger Walk was like at 9:55 or something, I was thinking there's no way the parking lots are going to be open, less than an hour before those guys come through.
For a complete insurance review, call Buddy Bridges in Lawrence County at 864-923-2174, serving Lawrence, Clinton, and the shores of Lake Greenwood.
NC State just scored to take the lead back.
Not licensed to do business.
How about that?
Hi, I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, and I've got a great gift idea that requires zero shopping, the gift of college savings. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan makes it easy. Grandparents, friends, and family can all contribute to a Future Scholar account and know that they're providing a gift that will last a lifetime. If you're looking for the perfect gift this holiday season, look no further. Learn more about the smart, easy way to save and give this holiday season at futurescholar.com.
When your day calls for some winning, why not watch your favorite football team at Dave & Buster's? We've got massive HD TVs and hundreds of the hottest new games. Sip from our chef-crafted cocktail menu with exclusive drinks such as the Strawberry Watermelon Margarita or Dangerous Waters. Cheer on the team with Cantina Nachos or wings featuring one of our 12 wings flavors. When your day calls for some winning, it's time for Dave & Buster's, where you can watch the games and play the games. Locations in Greenville, Columbia, and Myrtle Beach.
South Carolina's taste buds have spoken, and they're asking for beef. There are more than 7,800 farms raising cattle from pasture to plate in the Palmetto State. So whether it's steaks on the grill before the big game, sirloin medallions plated for date night, or burgers with a family, make sure beef is a part of your playbook this football season. Smoked, grilled, and slow roasted. Find the best way to enjoy your beef at scattle.org. Beef, it's what's for dinner in South Carolina. Funded by the South Carolina Beef Council, part of the Beef Checkoff Program.
Think big, life-changing. I'm talking education, inventive, next-level education. Wake up. For 20 years, education has received billions in funding. Where, you ask? Right here, across our state, in your own backyard. Who has done this? Well, if you've ever played the lottery, that would be you. Thank you. The South Carolina Education Lottery. When you play, we all win.
Okay, it is a big night in high school football across the state of South Carolina tonight. Upper and lower state finals, state semifinals, however you want to address them. Let's welcome in David Shelton of the Charleston Post and Courier, the high school sports report, who is no doubt going to be on the scene, I'm just guessing here, for that Somerville-Fort Dorchester game. And am I correct?
Yeah, you are correct. And tell Pat never play that bumper music when I'm coming on.
I knew that'd get under your skin. I knew it.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Hey,
I almost fell out of the press box.
There you go. You know, it's a night where you could go to any of these games and see a great one. The matchups are fantastic, and you're going to have one of them. You got two bitter rivals going at it, Summerville, Fort Dorchester. What do you see?
Yeah, this is going to be a really interesting game. You know, there's so much crossover between the two programs, coaching staff, players. It's the 30th year they played. Kind of dominated the series lately. But you know, it's going to be a very good game. The first game was a 17-point win for Fort. They played back the last part of October, but they had 2 pick sixes. So you take away the pick sixes, and that's a 3-point game. So that's kind of what I'm expecting tonight.
How about the upstate, Dutch Fork and Gaffney? And these two teams played earlier in the year. What do you think? Another tight one between them?
No, they didn't play each other. Fort Dorchester and Gaffney played each other.
Okay.
But Gaffney played Fort Dorchester in the state championship game last year and beat them. But, yeah, I expect a close game. I really like Fort. I really like Dutch Fork in this game. I think they're as healthy as they've been all year. I think they can do some things offensively. But it'll be a very tight game. It'll be well contested. But Gaffney, again, has to stay close because if Dutch Fork gets out in front, they are front runners.
All right, let's go to 4A. You've got Northwestern not far from me playing Greenville at Serene Stadium. Huge game for the city of Greenville and Greenville High. I imagine the board operator going to be very busy. Should be a lot of points in this one.
Yeah, I would think so. And unless there's some turnovers or something, I think both teams are going to have, sort of have their way offensively. This may come down to one of those who has the ball last kind of deals.
In Columbia, South Florence and AC Flora, the passing of Lenore Sellers, the running of that AC Flora team, a running back with 2,500 yards. Who's going to win out here, you think?
Yeah, it's going to be another one that could be the last one to have the ball kind of deal. There'll be some points scored. I think, both teams are very good defensively, and I don't think they get a lot of credit for that because they score so many points. But, I think Flora can win this, but I could see a situation where South Florence could win this.
Okay, that's nailing it down for us. How about in 3A? We got Powdersville, a relative newcomer against a program that's won a bunch of championships historically, but is now kind of in a new era and playing great football. Clinton and Powdersville.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really entertaining game. I think both teams run the ball very well. Powdersville has an edge in the passing game. Clinton has an edge a little bit on the defense. I think Clinton's going to win. I've been picking Clinton all year as the team I thought could win the upper state. So I'm not going to change now, but I think it'll be very competitive.
All right, lower state, you got Beaufort going to Dillon.
Tough assignment to go to Dillon and win, but certainly Beaufort is talented enough. They've not lost a game since they lost to Fort Dorchester in week 1. So they're pretty good. But Dillon is coming off a big win over Camden. They're going to be at home. Been a while since they've been in the finals. I think Dillon's going to win the game. All
right, we got Saluda going to Abbeville in Upper State 2A. Great matchup here.
Yeah, really good matchup. Saluda ruined Abbeville's 5-year run at a fifth state title a couple years ago. So Abbeville's gonna want a little bit of revenge. But Saluda has been really good in the playoffs. Abbeville's been really good all year. A couple of losses, but they lost to a Powdersville team. They lost to Westside. I think Abbeville's going to win it at home tonight.
Lower state, Andrew Jackson home to Oceanside. And AJ's is this a team that's kind of come from nowhere to reach the finals in the lower state?
Well, they were 0-2 to start the season. And nobody was even thinking about AJ getting this far, but they've won 11 in a row. They can run the football. They play good defense. They're going to be a big crowd there. It's going to be a tall challenge. I think Oceanside's a better team. But, I also thought Barnwell was better, and they hammered Barnwell last week.
All right, give me your winners in 1A. We got St. Joseph's and Christ Church. That's a neighborhood battle in the upstate, and Cross and Johnsonville in the lower state.
I think I'm going to take Christ Church in the upper state. And that lower state game, man, I don't know. They're two very evenly matched teams. I would say, Johnsonville being the home team and being undefeated, they're probably going to win. But I think Cross has got a great shot.
David, enjoy your game tonight. You're going to see a whale of a contest, I'm sure. Look forward to having you with us for the high school scoreboard at 10:05. We'll break it all down many, many times later tonight. Thanks for joining us.
All right, man. Take care.
Take care. David Shelton with us here on our Founders Federal Football Friday night coverage here from Greenville. He'll join us for the scoreboard later, and we'll be back.
By the way, before we do what's supposed to happen,
He froze me out.
Thank you for pushing.
How do I'm the only one on the team, and then I'm the only one of our group that actually covers high school football, and I don't get a chance to ask a question.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 100.
How about this? The Saudi prince, I just saw this on Twitter, is going to buy every member of the Saudi Arabian men's national soccer team a new, what was it, Rolls?
218 votes in the House.
A new Rolls-Royce Phantom for their upset win over Argentina. It's nice to have money. What, they have about 25 guys on the roster? That's about what they have for a soccer team?
McCarthy won his party's nomination for speaker this month.
Yeah, exactly. You're right.
All those casting a vote for a specific candidate, the January 3rd House floor vote to officially be elected speaker, 218 votes would be a majority. A speaker can be elected with fewer than 218 votes if there are absences, vacancies, or some members vote present. Republicans will have around 220.
Oh, yeah. That's what one oil rig for them.
townhall.com. There are some disturbing new facts now emerging concerning the mass shooting this week at a Walmart store in Virginia.
That's a good point. And they still may, if they don't get out of the group stage.
Andre Bing left behind what they're calling a death note, blaming others for mocking him. Co-workers of Bing say he was difficult and known for being hostile with employees. One survivor describes the gunman as
4th and 5.
killings, looking for specific people, killing 6 co-workers before
ending
his own life. Police say Bing had purchased a 9mm handgun just hours before. Bob Agnew reports.
Authorities say a person has fatally shot 2 teachers and 1 student and wounded 11 others in 2 separate schools today in southeastern Brazil. Spokesman says the shootings taking place at a public school with both elementary and middle school.
Oh, yeah, no question.
And at a private school, both in
And North Carolina had run the ball really well.
In the public school, the shooter broke
into
a teacher's room, breaking a lock and opened fire. And a fire in an apartment building in China has left at least 10 people dead. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Hi, my name's Adam Barada. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold, the highest rated precious metals firm in the country. Now, we've won the Best of Trust Link Award 4 years in a row because we educate.
Yeah, I was going to ask David, all right, rank the game. Which is the best of all of them tonight?
We'd rather pass that value on.
I mean, there's so many good high school games tonight.
Speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
Hi, this is Dennis Prager. As you know, the culmination of my life's work has been writing my Rational Bible Commentary series. I have done Genesis, Exodus, and the just-released Deuteronomy. They are all called the Rational Bible because my approach is entirely reason-based. So if you're looking for the perfect holiday gift, even for someone with no faith, in fact, especially, I recommend getting them my Rational Bibles. Complete set. That's Prager Store.
I won't tell you how it turns out, but you're going to like this next play.
After some 50 years, NASA has returned to the moon. Rich Thomason reports.
Upon its arrival, the Orion capsule with 3 test dummies on board whipped around the far side of the moon, passing within 80 miles. Because of a communications blackout, flight controllers in Houston did not know if the critical engine...
We're just window dressing, buddy. He doesn't need us. He doesn't need us.
The moon since the Apollo program. Orion blasted off recently from Florida's Kennedy Space Center on a 3-week flight. Rich Thomason reporting.
Authorities in the Philippines say at least 14 people have survived.
He's actually covering, I don't know if, I'm guessing from the house, he's working on the Carolina and Clemson basketball games.
Wall Street, the Dow was up.
I didn't know Clemson was playing basketball tonight.
Breaking news.
No, that's right. They got Iowa. Yeah, isn't it? A heck of a catch.
On-point weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's your Friday forecast. On and off showers for us all day. Some heavy as you look for bargains everywhere. The high reaching 61. For tonight, mild with a low of 51. The rain continues tomorrow and even into Sunday morning. Our high temps for the weekend in the mid-60s. Stay safe, stay dry. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point Local Weather.
He may try and he needs to get the manager of,
from the Barton Fireside Studio.
yeah, there we go. He's getting him on. Good.
Winter.
This is 107.
Yeah, this is time to get him on. The manager of Dave and Buster's.
Oh, now you get this.
Lord.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Better. Okay, that's fine.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Sports Talk on this Founders Federal Football Friday night as we're coming to you from Dave and Buster's in Greenville. Having a blast here. A lot of folks here having dinner and hanging out at the bar and playing over in the arcade. And going to take a moment here to visit with one of the managers here at Dave and Buster's in Greenville. Ryan has come by.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
We're doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Just hanging out with some of these people. We got some big games coming on today. We got Florida State about to come on. Nice little Black Friday crowd that we got going on tonight. Just want to have a great end of the evening.
Absolutely. Tell people about the concept of Dave and Buster's if they're not familiar with it. To me, it's sort of an all-encompassing sort of arrangement
Right.
here for a family or for a couple or for single people.
Well, it's really whatever you want to make it. I mean, if you want to come up here with yourself and a couple of guys, watch a football game, you can do that. If ladies want to come out here and have a little bachelorette party, you can do that. If you want to come here with the family, that's 100% something that you can do. It's really all encompassing. We have a full bar, full restaurant, and an arcade entertainment area. It's really something for everything, something for everyone. So, and even too, like if you want to watch a UFC pay-per-view, we're here for that too. We also have wrestling, all those things, all the sporting events. We got the World Cup is the big one we got going on right now. We've had a few people coming in for that. And, you know, it's just a great place. Like myself, you know, I have a family, I have kids. I can come here and sit down and watch a little bit of the game, and I can, my kids can play games while I'm doing that, and kind of fun for everybody all in one place.
Yeah, I mean, you could safely send them over to the arcade while you and the missus are sitting over here having dinner or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And you'll see, and you could probably see that tonight if you look out in the dining room. You can definitely see some moms and dads sitting at the table with some kids out in the game area, kind of give themselves a moment to kind of have a little date almost, you know?
That's fantastic. We're sitting here, and we got games. You got televisions. About how many televisions do you have around here?
We have exactly 35. And for those people that have come here before, what they may not know is that over the last year, we've added about 12 TVs that we didn't have. So we had about 20 TVs, and then we added one or two more, and then we had the opportunity to add a bunch at one time. Now, I just don't think that there's anybody that can that really have the kind of viewing space that we have now. I mean, there's really not a bad seat in the house. You know, now you can sit anywhere you want. We have our pillars now have TVs on them. All of our dining room walls now have TVs all the way across them. The bar always had the TVs. So there's really not a bad seat in the house now, especially for like a pay-per-view event and everything like that, if you need a big group for that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was in Myrtle Beach last week, and the Packers, I'm a Packers fan, the Packers game was on the Amazon stream, which I don't subscribe to, and so it's great to go. And I know you've got that. You bring up all the NFL games. You mentioned the other pay-per-view stuff. So if there's something big on television and you want to go, great place to eat and watch the game on a big screen television, this would be the place.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave & Buster's does a pretty good job of getting us those, I don't know if you want to call it partnerships, but getting those things that we need, because some people don't have Amazon Prime. So all the Thursday night games are now on Amazon Prime. But if you don't have that, you can come here, especially too with the pay-per-view. Some of those are on some weird network, and we've been able to have all those things taken care of with our DirecTV.
Your menu, I just want to touch on that very quickly, because when I was in Myrtle Beach, and I'm sure it's the same menu throughout your stores in South Carolina. I mean, I had the ribeye steak. I happen to be a big fan of that, but I noticed the hamburgers and the other things on your your wings and everything else. I mean, you kind of cover the entire family wish list, I guess you could say, when a family comes in.
Yeah, that's kind of what our brand kind of tries to do with everything.
not a
There's something
catch.
for everyone. You can come here, watch a game while your kids play games. If you want to eat off the menu, I mean, I know myself. If I go out, as long as the place has got chicken fingers, I know that my kids got something to eat.
Yeah.
So no matter where we're going, so Dave & Buster's tries to do that too as well. Something for everybody. If you're looking for a pasta, if you're looking for a burger, if you're looking for wings, we have that. And if you're looking for an appetizer like nachos or a giant pretzel, we have that. And then as far as the kid menu goes, we got just plain butter noodles, and we got chicken and French fries. Some of the basics. So kind of covers everything. And that also with our bar menu, we have exotic cocktails and we have beers. So if you're a beer and a shot guy, we got you covered. And if you want a tasty cocktail, we got you covered as well.
And tomorrow, South Carolina Clemson, 12 o'clock. Gonna be rocking in here.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big one for us, especially after the way that South Carolina played last week against Tennessee, with all the aspirations that Tennessee had, and to see what South Carolina did to them. It's definitely going to be all eyes on that game tomorrow.
Any final thoughts from you about the weekend here at Dave & Buster's and folks coming on down and enjoying themselves? You got the location here in Greenville,
right?
And we got the location at Celebrity Square over in Myrtle Beach, and the Harbison location in Columbia. And they're all these beautiful, huge facilities, right? I can tell they're all the same. They're all set up the same. So you can go and eat and have some fun, relax, watch games, and let the kids go in the arcade and play and have a good time at any of the three.
Absolutely. Tomorrow will probably be pretty rocking for us in Columbia, with us being a few minutes away from Clemson and Columbia being right there in the mix with South Carolina. It'll probably be pretty rocking for both of our locations. And Myrtle Beach is its own animal. Sometimes they can be just wildly busy.
Yeah. Well, we thank you for coming over.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us here. We'll be back. Be doing this some more here and other locations around the state, and look forward to it.
All right,
look forward to
perfect.
seeing you guys again. You do a great job, and you've been great hosts for us. We really do appreciate it.
All right, well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much,
All right,
Ryan.
have a good one.
Yes, sir. Take care. All right, there you go. From here at the Dave & Buster's. In the meantime, Chris, it looks like the Tar Heels have just knocked in a touchdown.
What a finish in Chapel Hill. They threw a pass. Drake May scrambled out to his left with about 8 seconds left to go in the game. Threw a ball to the end zone. It was a bobbled catch. Ruled a catch in the end zone for the potential tying touchdown. They reviewed it, and you could see the ball actually moved in the receiver's hands and touched the ground. So they overturned the call. It was ruled incomplete, brought up 4th and goal with 2 seconds left. May then found another receiver in the back of the end zone for an obvious catch. And unlike a couple of years ago when North Carolina tried to go for the win against Clemson in Chapel Hill, go for 2, Mac Brown kicks the extra point here, and they are going to overtime between North Carolina and NC State.
Okay, very good. Let's get you reset because you're kind of, unless that's my receiving on my end, you sound a little bit choppy there. So if you can reset yourself, that'd be great. 24-24, Tar Heels and State. Missouri has beaten Arkansas 29-27. So Arkansas finishes at 6-6, and Missouri finishes at 6-6. Arizona beats Arizona State 38-35. Colorado State over New Mexico 17-0. Nebraska leads Iowa 24-17 late in the fourth quarter. UCLA on top of Cal 27-21 early fourth quarter. Baylor, Texas has beat. Try that again. Texas beat Baylor 38-27. Eastern Michigan over Central Michigan 38-19. Of course, if those two Michigans are playing, Western Michigan has to play. They beat Toledo 20-14. So all your Michigan directionals played today, I guess. There's Southern Michigan. We got Eastern. We got Central. We got Western. We need a Northern and a Southern. Tulane over Cincinnati 27-24. Boise State over Utah State 42-23. Coming up, Florida and Florida State. South Carolina basketball beat Upstate 68-53. And Clemson tonight in basketball down in Niceville, Florida, taking on Iowa. They're just underway in this event down in Florida, the Emerald Coast Classic. And they're just tipping off Iowa has the early 4-3 lead on the Tigers, and want to see if we have P.J. Hall in the starting lineup for Clemson. We do not. Hunter and Tyson, two different people, even though it's one name for one person, but that's two different people. There's Hunter, last name. There's Tyson, last name. Middlebrooks, Galloway, and Hemingway, your starters tonight for Clemson. Pat, am I missing anything?
No, I don't think so. You've got it all covered. And, yeah, it looks like we've got a great finish on our hands in that NC State-North Carolina game. And for those of us that picked North Carolina, still have a chance.
Wait a minute now. If you're Chris, so you ended up see, I'm not going to count that as one of my mistakes tonight. So I think I've made two mistakes tonight. I had the gate wrong. The gate's opening. The parking. I was thinking media parking begins at 9, but fan parking begins at 6.
Correct.
That's the thing at Clemson. Okay, so I got that wrong. And I got Gaffney and Dutch Fork having played in the regular season. I don't know why I was thinking that. Had them confused with Fort Dorchester. So I got that wrong. And I messed up our streaming feed at the very beginning of the show because I forgot to push a mute button. So that's a physical error, not a mental error. So 2 mental errors, 1 physical error. And I'm not counting your switch of North Carolina State. But I still don't know who you picked.
I picked, like I said, I initially picked NC State, but I was at the urgent care this morning because I've had a cold for what seems like an interminable amount of time. And so I finally decided I'm done with this. So I was over there for about 2.5 hours this morning to find out really there's nothing wrong with you. All my tests came back negative. So I did get some cold medicine. And probably as I was typing that, I was half confused because I was tired of sitting there. I initially put NC State down on my sheet to you. I sent it back corrected, but I think probably what you saw in the headline was what confused you. I picked North Carolina. So on the record, I picked North Carolina before this game. I wished I hadn't, but, maybe they'll pull it out here at the end.
Well, if they win, well, let's see now. They're in overtime.
They would have to score first, and they have the ball.
Yeah, they have to score first because they were how many points were they?
I think they were 6. Isn't that what we had? Yeah.
We had them giving up. Let me check here. 6.5. So, yeah, you need the Tar Heels to score first and kick the extra point and then stop the Wolf.
Correct.
For North Carolina winning. Okay. Let's go to we got Gamecock Larry standing by. So let's let him opine going into this big weekend, see what is on his mind, and then we'll hit the break and we'll do recruiting after that. Larry, welcome into Sports Talk.
Thank you, sir, Mr. Phil Patton, all you 100.7 listeners, you Clemson fans. I ain't gonna talk no trash. You gonna talk facts. We Gamecocks, and the Gamecocks is coming up there. They coming to play. They coming to win. We gonna come back a winner. The Gamecocks are gonna show the stuff. And talking about last weekend. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to put my electric recliner, I'm going to unplug it and lean back as far as I go so I won't have to fall down anymore every time the Gamecocks score a touchdown. Last weekend, I fell down 9 times.
Ooh.
And, boy, I tell you what, I forgot. I jumped up and I just fell flat on my flat down in the floor. My grandson and my son-in-law had to pick me up, put me back in the recliner, but they didn't. Every time they scored, I just jumped up again in the same old thing. This time I'm going to lock it down, unplug it, go back as far as I can so I can jump up. 38, 31 at least. And I believe we're going to get more. I believe we're going to get more. And all you Clemson fans, all you just out there talking your trash. I hear you. I even hear you Clemson Tiger fan and Mr. Fields' voice. I know he's pulling for the Tigers.
Go Tigers.
I'm going to tell you something. Remember, he who laughs last best. Gamecock Larry. I love all y'all, but go Gamecocks. 38, 31 Gamecocks. Maybe
All right.
25 or 30 more. Go Gamecocks!
Thank you, Larry. And please don't fall down, Larry. You don't need to be hitting the turf.
Not 9 times. Good grief.
Really, I'm surprised he's able to make a phone call. Thank you, Larry. Let's hit the break here, Pat, and come back and do recruiting. And I may have another little special guest from here at Dave & Buster's if he can free himself up and come over and visit with us. We'll save that for the end. And then we've got George Bryan coming up, final half hour, Birdies and Bogeys around South Carolina, brought to you by the good folks at Tsunami Bar. So stay tuned for that.
Oh, nice.
Tar Heels and State. Tar Heels kicked the field goal. They're up 3. We'll be back.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I love sports, and I've helped people for over 30 years. Contact me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. When the insurance company won't pay your claim,
unless they kick
or
field
you
goal.
have complicated issues, some other business causes your business to lose money, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. When you lose a
Third
relative
overtime.
and find out you got cut out of a will or don't get
Yeah,
what was promised.
yeah. The second
when you have
overtime, they
serious
would have to
injury,
score and then
like
go
you've
for
wrecked
2,
or
and they'd
been
have to
out
convert
or on
that.
the job. jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
Just 2-point conversions.
For some winning,
Correct.
Why not watch
Correct.
your favorite football team at Dave & Buster's? We've got massive HDTVs and hundreds of
By the way,
hottest
tell
new
Phil,
games
and
that from
if he's got a
chef-crafted
guest, that's
cocktail
fine. But
menus with exclusive
let him know
drinks
we
such
do
as
have
the
Jamie
strawberry
Chadwell in the
watermelon
box too, if
margarita or
necessary.
Dangerous Waters. Cheer on the team with Cantina Nachos or wings featuring one of our 12 wing flavors. When your day calls for some winning, it's time for Dave & Buster's, where you can watch the games and play the games. Locations in Greenville, Columbia, and Myrtle Beach.
Life, it has its ups and downs. Sometimes it's little things like hitting every red light or dropping your cell phone. Maybe it's the bills, rent, or pressure at work. But when it comes to the South Carolina Education Lottery, you should never feel like playing will solve everything. The lottery is a game. It's played for fun. So set a dollar
Yes, you're
amount.
right, Pat.
Expect not to win and make sure responsibilities, family, friends, and work.
I may be the only broadcaster in
Visit
the state tomorrow that's actually going to be
playresponsibly.com.
doing basketball and not watching
South
football.
Carolina's taste buds have spoken, and they're asking for beef. There are
At
more than
2?
7,800
How horrible is
farms
that?
raising cattle from pasture to plate.
And
all
Coastal
across
football's
the
even playing at
state.
noon
Order at
tomorrow.
Steaks on the
So
Go
I'd
before
be
the
I'd
game,
miss the game
so
either
fine
way.
dining for date night, or burgers with a
Exactly.
family. Make sure
Exactly.
beef is a part of your playbook this football season.
And
Smoked, grilled, and
no
slow
doubt.
roasted. Find the best way to enjoy your beef at sccattle.org. Beef, it's what's for dinner in
3rd and
South
11
Carolina.
coming up for state now.
By the South Carolina Beef Council, part of the Beef Checkoff program.
Show your team pride wherever you go with Founders Federal Credit Union's collegiate debit cards. Get your University of South Carolina and Clemson University debit cards at any Founders office or by calling 1-800-845-1614. Plus, our debit cards are digital wallet ready, so you can pay however you please. Not a member? Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our 37 convenient locations to see if you qualify for membership. Terms and conditions apply. Founders
Nice.
Federal Credit Union is
Tell me it's about
federally
5
insured
minutes.
and CUA.
Indeed.
All right, time to give you the recruiting report here tonight on Sports Talk. It is brought to you by our great friends at Seawells. They'll be back at it on Monday with a daily luncheon buffet. Make sure you get over there for that next week from 11 till 2. Absolutely delicious and very affordable at only $13 a plate. And for the very, very, very best in the catering business, that too would be Seawells. Give them a call at 803-771-7385. Let Seawells help make your event a memorable experience. So Clemson yesterday received a 4th receiver commitment in the 23 class. Tyler Brown from Greenville High announced that he is headed to the Tigers. He was once a Minnesota commitment, but he backed off that in mid-October. He then visited Clemson for the Syracuse and Louisville games and was offered by receivers coach Tyler Grisham, part of an explosive offense with the Red Raiders. This season, he has 51 catches, 835 yards, 12 touchdowns, caught 71 passes last year, 1,034 yards, and 15 touchdowns. Tigers have Myson Kelly, who can be receiver or defensive back, Ronan Hannafin, Noble Johnson as other receivers. South Florence quarterback Lenora Sellers playing in Columbia tonight. Has nothing to do with USC, of course. They're playing AC Flora in the 4A semifinals. He plans to return to Florence. No plans to go to Clemson for the Palmetto Bowl or anywhere else. He's a Syracuse commit, and he was going to go to Wake Forest last Saturday when the Orange were there, but he did not make that trip. Does not foresee making a return to Syracuse before the December 21st signing day. He took his official visit in the summer. Does remain in regular contact with Shane Beamer and quarterbacks coach Marcus Satterfield from USC. They talk quite a bit, 3 or 4 times a week. Watched the Gamecocks in Tennessee. He said he was very impressed with what they did, how much they threw the ball was something that stuck with him. And he still has some thinking to do before he finalizes everything in December. Going into tonight's game, he had thrown for 2,548 yards and 40 touchdowns this season and rushed for 921 yards and 16 touchdowns. He and South Carolina are talking about an official visit come December. USC Wednesday offered 2023 defensive back Brock Foster, 6'1", 180 of DeVal, Texas. USC target offensive tackle Keyshawn Blackstock was offered by Cal. Running back Christopher Johnson of Fort Lauderdale visiting Clemson officially this weekend, and he's got Penn State on December the 9th. And Clemson commitment receiver Noble Johnson coming in for his official this weekend. Also at Clemson officially this weekend, running back Jamarius Haynes, safety Khalil Barnes, and offensive tackle Spencer Fano. Running back Jordan Louis, drawing Clemson interest, and he was in last Saturday, is taking an official visit to North Carolina December 9th. 2025 receiver Marshall Pritchett of Raven Gap, Georgia, plans to be at Clemson tomorrow. 24 offensive defensive lineman Graham Utter plans to be there. He's out of Alabama. 26 quarterback Mason Holtzclaw of Wren plans to be there. 2026 quarterback Joshua Sims of Blacksburg plans to visit Georgia Saturday. USC target 2024 defensive tackle Gerard Smith will be at Ohio State. He's a teammate of Gamecock commitment Dante Reno. 25 offensive tackle Mason Short of Evans, Georgia, at Clemson last weekend, going to Ohio State this weekend. USC target 2025 offensive tackle Peyton Joseph plans to be at Alabama. Clemson target 24 offensive tackle Daniel Calhoun also plans to be at Alabama on Saturday. And that is a look at recruiting. Of course, there'll be other in-state prospects probably at Clemson, Joshua Thompson and Cam Pringle for 2 in the 24 class. There'll be a bunch of players from the state at Clemson tomorrow, and that'll do it for recruiting. We got Coastal Carolina, Chris, heading up to JMU tomorrow. How about some comments from Jamie Chadwell?
Yeah, met with the media on Wednesday, held his weekly press conference to size up what is an incredibly important game for them. Still have an opportunity to play, to host. They're already in, but to host the Sun Belt Conference Championship game with a win at JMU, who is not eligible to play in the postseason as they transition from FCS to FCS football. So here's a little of what head coach Jamie Chadwell had to say as the Chanticleers get ready to face the Dukes tomorrow.
Our team's excited about the opportunity that we have coming up. Obviously, we know we're if we can win, we got a chance to host the Sun Belt Championship game.
Thank you, sir.
Big deal for us. Our guys know the importance of this game, and we know we're playing a really good opponent. Probably from all 3 phases, the best team that we've played.
Yeah, no doubt.
This kid's are really good.
Nails.
We know it's a big challenge.
Well,
always,
regardless of what happens now, NC State's going to cover
over the last several decades, but great challenge for us, but also a great opportunity and one that our team's looking forward to.
That's who I thought it was at first. I said, well, wait a minute. I thought all their quarterbacks were hurt.
He's still rehabbing. He's out of his boot, which is good. He's trying to get back as quickly as he can, but most importantly, as healthy as he can. So there's obviously no shot that he's playing this week, and we'll see what happens next week if there's a chance for the title game there. That would be that Saturday before week.
I thought so.
In that time frame. But I think it all just depends on how his foot's reacting to all the different things that we're doing for him to try to get him ready to go.
How the kids been feeling with a couple extra days of rest, or how are you
guys?
Okay, I think, and this kid's name is what?
It was good for a lot of people.
That's it, Ben. Yeah.
It's late in the season. We had a tough little schedule there from the standpoint that those last 3 weeks there. So some guys that needed to get healthy, needed to get rest. That was good for that standpoint. It was good to get a couple extra days of just practicing some fundamental things and things. We let our show team, our guys that don't travel with us, we had we call it the Turkey Bowl. Normally do it during Thanksgiving, but since we didn't play last week, we did it last week.
Okay, some comments from Coastal coach Jamie Chadwell as they prepare to head up to JMU, and we'll be back.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union.
Got out on time.
7 The Point.
And here's your Friday forecast.
Yeah, they actually bust to Harrisonburg today.
Bargains everywhere.
Yeah. Evidently saved money. Probably not the best time to save money, a big ball game for them, but that's what they did.
Stay dry. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
When I served in Iraq and Afghanistan, my buddies and I would do anything for each other. That's important whether you're in a firefight or fighting to regain your life. When I came home injured, there are people I can count on, like DAV.
Yeah, remind Phil his scenario about North Carolina going for 2 and the third overtime is not eligible anymore.
Getting the benefits they've earned. Help us fulfill the promise to our men and women who served.
Bill said what we need to have happen is North Carolina kick a field goal, and then in the third overtime, North Carolina score a touchdown and go for 2 and win by 8.
Gunman has fatally shot
Right, exactly.
teachers and 1 student and wounded 11 more in 2 separate schools in southeastern Brazil. Shootings taking place early Friday at a public school with elementary students and at a private school, both in the small town of Aracruz. In the public school, the shooter broke into a teacher's lounge after breaking a lock. A woman has died. Her husband rescued and treated for hypothermia after they were caught in extreme cold weather while hiking in Utah's Zion National Park this week. National Park Service says the married couple on a permitted 16-mile hike to an area known as the Narrows Tuesday and Wednesday. Wall Street today, the Dow was up 153 points. This is SRN News.
You know, if you're looking for the best deals of the year in firearms, ammo, AR accessories, scopes, and gun safes, do not miss your chance at Shooter's Choice.
Oh!
It's that time of the year to bust open the Black Friday weekend deals. 3 full days.
Wow.
Off the
What a
charts.
throw.
Now, there's plenty of inventory to choose from, but with some limited quantities. Don't let someone else beat you to it. Shooter's Choice will kick off the Black Friday weekend sale Friday morning at 6 a.m. You can't afford to miss out on this event. The low pricing will shock you. Check out Shooter's Choice on Facebook for early release of sale pricing and items that are available. And if you don't feel like dealing with traffic, just shop online at shooterschoicesc.com. Huge price reductions across the board, hundreds of items, no rain checks. Get out to Shooter's Choice, Sunset Boulevard in West Columbia, Friday morning at 6 a.m. or all weekend long. The 3-day sale prices will blow your mind. We'll see you at Shooter's Choice on Sunset Boulevard in West Columbia, Friday, 6 a.m. Make it your first choice. Your best choice. Make it Shooter's Choice.
Attention listeners, con artists have many tricks for stealing your money, but the AARP Fraud Watch Network is here to help you protect yourself and your family. We give you the tools you need to spot and avoid scams. So listen for the AARP Fraud Watch Network alerts. Use our scam tracking map to see the latest scams and sign up for prevention tips and alerts from law enforcement. To learn how to outsmart con artists before they strike, visit aarp.org/fraudwatchnetwork.
Hi, honey. How was your first day back at work?
Well, that slip and fall sure did cause me some pain and discomfort. This swollen ankle is no fun. Thanks to True Pharmacy, the day wasn't a complete waste.
I'm so glad they were able to get you all set up with your ACE bandage wrap and even a set of crutches.
Yes, who knew you could rent your crutches from True Pharmacy?
And they even have wheelchairs to rent and sell. That's good information to know in case we ever need it for our parents as they get older.
I'm so glad we found True Pharmacy. True Pharmacy, 2 locations, West Columbia and Divine Street.
Everyone seems to be hiring these days. But are
Missed
they
it.
good jobs where there's potential for growth? What about on-the-job training and competitive wages, including health insurance and a 401k plan? Professional Printers is looking for their next star. They're a local printer with 2 locations, 130 employees.
Yep, got it blocked.
clientele. If you've got a good attitude, want to learn some great skills, and work in a positive environment,
North Carolina was lining up for a field goal, and it looks like they blocked it or at least deflected it enough.
I'm here to fill time because, as everyone knows,
Yep.
when a radio station has dead air,
No
Daddy
kidding.
loses money. Albeit these guys are getting such a deal, Daddy's not losing that much money. So take that, Mr. No Raise in 48 years.
This is the point. Make the
Yeah.
radio.com.
Straight down the middle. It went
Yeah. Now do they get? Yeah. Do they suck it up and say this is for all the marbles? Let's go win that game, or are they done? Yeah. That's a good point.
lost sight of it. That little white pallet has never been found to this day.
That is a most appropriate song to play right now at this moment in time as we welcome in George Bryan III and Tsunami Robbie, another edition of Birdies and Bogeys around the state of South Carolina. But it's not necessarily appropriate to a golf swing, guys. But right as you were coming on the air, North Carolina was attempting to tie its game with NC State, and the North Carolina place kicker, this is in overtime, he kicks it right down the middle between the uprights, heading between the uprights, and all of a sudden it hooked to the left. So just like the song, straight down the middle until she started hooking a little bit. And George, what do you think? Relate the kick. Okay, you're a place kicker, much to the golf swing. What is it in the kicking motion that creates a hook much like a golf swing?
Well, the foot instead of the face. And you know what I learned? I've had spent a little time with these place kickers, and at least with a couple of them, they actually take its foot, ball, then ground, and there are a lot of similarities. It's pretty cool. Now that foot, the angle of the foot, well, that's just exactly like the angle of that club face. The path of the foot, about the same thing. So, hey, and I love the hook, by the way. I'm not loving the fact the field goal kicker missed that field goal, but it's from the hook you learn how to play, and that's a fact. Got to learn to hook it before you can learn to play.
So in the world of golf, then I mean, you prefer the hook over the fade. You prefer the draw over the fade. That's better for your game.
Well, and I'll just put it this way. You've got to learn to draw it before you learn to control the ball. So in the developmental process, you learn how to hook it and you can learn to play. You hit it from the inside. Just, if you take a look at what all the field goal kickers do now, they stand in there beside the football and they run in sideways and they call it soccer style. Speaking of style, we got to bring Tsunami Robbie to the team.
Yep.
Let's see it on the ground, Tsunami Robbie. Tsunami Robbie's got him some style now. Happy Thanksgiving, man. Come on in, Robbie.
I'm in, fellas. Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, that ball game between the NC State Wolfpack and North Carolina Tar Heels came right down to the very end, and that foot swing from the inside and just caught it a little bit. I guess with that face ankle a little closed, and it took it to the left, missed the goal post, and NC State comes out with the win and a nail biter. And we've got a lot of football, a lot of golf, all kinds of stuff going this weekend, and I'm excited to be here, boys.
You sound like it. We're going to see a lot of that this weekend, guys, with these kickers. There's going to be a lot of tight games, and there's going to be a lot of pressure kicks. Does pressure bring that on, guys, when you talk about the way he hit that ball? Does that a little breakdown in technique, you think, related to the pressure of the moment?
Boy, pressure is everything. Yeah, I agree. No, I can just relate to, being, my athletic days coming up. When you're in the moment like that, I'd be on the mound throwing, a tight ball game and get to the last inning and need 3 outs. and you just get to a point where you don't hear anything. No crowd noise, no coaches, no players behind you. When I was young in baseball, chatter on the infield was a big thing, and it was all phased out. It was a 3-man ball game at that point. It was me, my catcher, and the umpire. And that was it. I didn't even count the batter because I was going to strike his butt out.
That being said, this might be the most listened to game they had all year.
I just needed to locate my pitch, and it's the same with golf. You get over that golf ball, and you got some people like Colin Montgomery who's got those radar ears, and he can hear every single thing going on, and it distracts him and it pulls him off his game, and he'll back off until everything is just the way he wants it. But every player's a little bit different, and I'm one of those guys. I just try to block it all out. Whatever's going on, I try to. But then again, I'm not a PGA Tour player, so maybe it doesn't work that way. But pressure is everything. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of the pressure, well, that brings on tension, and Tsunami Bar Sports is the sponsor of this segment. So one of the things that we know about the technology, and it was invented in the Clemson weight room, the football weight room, and one of the first things Mike Ramsey, who is our CEO, talked about was, well, the biggest advantage is it will increase the athlete's feel because Tsunami Bar technology doesn't tear down the muscle fiber in the same way, and then it allows for whatever reason, Tsunami Robbie, for it to heal up a little quicker, so you get your feel back faster, and studying that tension in layers, especially in layers, makes a big difference in helping these athletes negotiate pressure. Pressure causes tension. Tension's a performance inhibitor. And Tsunami Robbie, talk just a little bit about that Tsunami Bar technology, please, sir.
Yeah, I love to. Even though it's a fairly new technology, we're only talking since 2012, 2013 when it really started to hit the market, and it sounds like 10 years down the road. That's a long time, but it's not. It's really, in the grand scheme of things and exercise and performance exercise, this is a new technology, and it's really just starting to get some traction. People starting to hear it, understand it, and apply it. And the tension factor, when it comes to precision type sports like golf, just like George mentioned, tension is a performance killer. And if you want to be able to exercise, not have the skeletal and muscular breakdown that you get with traditional exercise, so you can have that quicker recovery time, be able to get out on the course the next day or even that day for that matter, and be able to perform at a high level without trying to have a little hitch in your giddy up because your shoulders are a little sore, your traps are a little sore, your legs are a little sore. The Tsunami Bar technology, with that elasticity, that forgiveness of the load of the weight at certain points during the range of motion, allow you to get that strength and power gain without the muscular and skeletal abrasion that you get with other forms of exercise.
And well, I got to tell you, Phil, you brought up a name. You sent it over. I figured we could unwrap it right here. And you mentioned, you mentioned him. I'm going to bring that up the person I need to say this. So the bar, the technology is already in the industrial sports, football, basketball, baseball. Those folks aren't going to brag about it a lot. Part of it's our initiative through the program, Sports Talk, Birdies and Bogeys, to begin to introduce the technology to the general public. And I'm going to tell you, this is a fact. The bar was invented for the industrial strength football players, the baseball, basketball, soccer. The biggest beneficiaries, though, are those ones climbing the ladder, those getting a few miles on the tread. And Phil, you mentioned one of these elite golfers in our community getting a few miles on the tread, and I know we're going to introduce it, but unwrap. You sent me a text and a name and a phone number, and give me the background.
Yeah. I was in Florence on Wednesday. We do a show annually at our affiliates there, our affiliate station in Florence. Community broadcasters affiliates there in Florence and other towns. Kennard and Alan Smothers host, and I always participate. It's a 4-hour radio marathon about the USC Clemson football game, the rivalry, the Palmetto Bowl. Anyway, Tommy Gainey, good friends with Alan Smothers, comes to that from time to time, and he popped in on Wednesday looking good and sat next to me, and I really felt intimidated sitting next to a world-class golfer like Tommy Gainey. And, I mean, he is world-class and world-renowned. 2 gloves, of course. What a job he's done marketing himself, and he's a humble guy, but you know, in this day and age of YouTube and social media and things like that, you know, he's a guy that kind of exploded upon the golf world. But anyway, I was talking to him about the Tsunami Bar, and you know, he's been dealing with some injuries. I think he's been dealing with I think he has a rib cage. I think he was dealing with a rib cage muscle type thing that's been bothering him. He's feeling pretty good now, and he said he's going to be back competing in tournaments in January. But I said, Tommy, man, you need to check out this Tsunami Bar and see if it might help you out in this world-class center that Robbie and George have over in West Columbia, and the golf center and everything else. And he really, I was presenting a new world to him in some ways about what you guys are doing and what the Tsunami Bar is. And you might be hearing from him sometime in the future about coming over there and checking everything out.
Yeah, we've got Tommy. By the way, you're right. He's extremely humble, and he's probably the most popular pro-am player that I've talked to the crowd or any of the sponsors, the patrons. There's nobody more popular on the PGA Tour than Tommy Gainey. He makes everybody around him in his group, they have fun, the crowd. So, but Tommy's getting on up, and he's got a few miles on his tread.
Huh.
I can assure you, we will have the technology, and we will host him at our training center. We got a number of tour players that use the Tsunami Bar, and we don't know exactly how their trainers are using it with them. We have ideas. Peter Costas endorses, and he has a product. I can mention a list of names, but until I get a feel for how they're actually using it, we don't need to get too elaborate at this point. But there are Ryder Cup players on both the European and the American side that I know are using it, and it makes a difference. So it'll be fun bringing Tommy over to the Tsunami Bar Training Center. Or what the cool thing about it, we can take it to him and let him keep it in his truck. Tsunami Robbie, we have a beautiful feature about our technology. It fits in the trunk, in the back of the truck, or in the back seat. You can train at home, in the park, as I did today, and it's mobile.
It is mobile, and gee, I have seen photographs and seen you tote the tools around and train at any location. I mean, it is just that mobile. It doesn't need anything but a little bit of desire and want to, and you can get some training in, and effective training. You know, my old way of training would be to train until I physically needed help to get out the door, and that's just not the way it works in golf. We don't recommend that. We don't train it that way. And I had to learn the hard way through the school of hard knocks that on the golf side, that is not the way to do it. And the Tsunami Bar technology, that flexible bar technology, as compact as it is, as mobile as it is, as versatile as it is, it's a no-brainer. You need to have it in your bag, ready to go whenever you're ready.
Well, there's a football game tomorrow, and you'll see it on the sidelines. They don't cover it up with the tent. They typically, again, the industrial strength teams, they're not showing each other what their secrets are. And I can assure you it's in SEC and ACC weight rooms just because I've seen it there. I'm not even sure we're allowed to talk about what ones the way we're doing right now. I can say, well, anyway, we'll move on. I can tell you, give the website out, Robbie, for how folks can find it if they wanted to check it out. And I know, Phil, you said you got another video up on the website. I didn't check it today once I got your text, but
yep,
look forward to.
yeah, tsunamibarsports.com or the place to see the product and purchase online, of course, if you desire to do so. But we've also got Phil Kornblut and his site. He's got full access to everything, and anybody that's on his website can, I'm sure, and Phil can explain it better than I can, to be able to access the website, the videos, see it all in action, and get some more information on it.
Yeah, what we're doing, of course, we cut some videos that George took with his phone, his iPhone, a few weeks ago when I was there, and we'll cut some new ones here in the near future once we get football behind us and have some time to go in there and do some close-ups. I don't think get a little makeup on, need a little rouge. I don't think I look really good. TV doesn't do me justice, I don't think, But anyway, we'll have more. But on our website, sportstalksc.com, on the right-hand column, you can see the videos, or on our stories, we have rotating digital ads. You can see it there when you click on a particular story. But just click on the video, and you can watch the video, and then click on the digital ad for Tsunami Sports, Tsunami Bar, and that will take you to the Tsunami website, and then you can scroll through there and see all the fantastic stuff they have to offer. I think what you guys need to do too, Robbie, is invite people to come out, and I guess, can you do this? Because I saw it. They need to see how you guys make it back there in your plant with that, I don't know, what is that, heated metal, and how you guys so precisely figure this thing out lengthwise and weight-wise so it meets the specifics of what you're trying to do. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, we've got, we do everything in-house. We import all the parts from different parts of the country and the world, for that matter, and then we assemble everything, usually by myself, right there in-house. And I still do all the design and all the pre-work of being able to get a bar to meet the specifications and the flexibility points that I want it to meet to be able to perform a certain way for a particular athlete or sport. So we go through a lot of trial and error to be able to come up with combinations and the formulas that we do. There's a lot of physics based into this thing, and using the speed, power, and mass format to be able to accumulate the information that we need to come out with a particular bar that will work for a football player, or work for a baseball player, or work for a golfer, and it seems to be working well. And we've got plenty of stuff. And yes, please come on over. 720 Chris Drive. It's a great big manufacturing plant. But if you come around, as you face the building, come around to the left side. There's three sets of double doors, and the middle set, the second set of double doors, is right where I'm at, and I can walk you right into the Tsunami Center, and we can get a little demonstration right on the spot if you come on over.
Excellent.
Speaking of demos, on Tuesday night, 6 p.m., December, Tuesday 6 to 7, you can get a little preview through the impact conditioning class. So this is introduction to Tsunami Bar training, but also protocols that influence that critical moment in the golf swing, impact. It's called impact conditioning. Tsunami Robbie takes the first part of the class, and we'll call it golf-specific exercise, and then we have a little fun with impact in our golf lab, taking the technology, the multi-47, and make sure that we hit that critical place called impact. With that, the Laginator. Hey, Tsunami Robbie Phil's giving us the 1 minute. Till we need to putt out. I want to congratulate, and we'll talk more next week, the Lexington County Chronicle Player of the Year is Lily Black. That's basically the Midlands area Player of the Year, and Lily Reed Black is from Chapin. This is the all Lexington County team. Lily Reed Black, Mia Andre, both of those players are from Chapin. Edie Rainey Hardy from Gilbert. Karen Smoke from Lexington. Brooke Burgess from Lexington. Caroline Gaines from River Bluff, and Benet Pollard from Swansea. Coach of the Year, is Greg Ham from Chapin. So congratulations. We'll say that's the Williams Strength Garage Gym report to close the Thanksgiving Birdies and Bogeys edition out on Sports Talk. So until next week, you all tee 'em high, shoot 'em low, and have a great weekend.
Thank you, George, and thank you, Robbie. Appreciate it very much, guys. Have a great weekend. All right, George Bryan.
Thanks, fellas.
Tsunami Robbie with us here on Sports Talk, Birdies and Bogeys. Florida State has jumped on top of Florida 7-0. And, guys, I have a special guest here with me at Dave & Buster's, and his name is Paul. And Paul, let me bring him up here. Paul, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Paul works here at Dave & Buster's, and the reason he caught my attention, we were talking, and you, sir, are an MMA fighter?
Yes, sir. Professional MMA fighter and professional bare knuckle boxer as well.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. What's your record?
As a pro MMA fighter, because I've taken some short notice fights, and in general, I'm 1-5, but I've taken short notice fights, and I've been winning and just happened to get caught in a few arm bars and a few Kimuras.
How did you get into this?
I wrestled I was a wrestler in high school, and I just something I didn't want to go to waste. After I started growing up and got into MMA, I didn't want it to go to waste. So I started wrestling and took a few boxing classes, and it was just something I wanted to get into.
And you are from Union?
Yes, sir. Union, South Carolina.
Union County High?
That's why I went to school at. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're a Yellow Jacket.
Yes, sir. I'm a Yellow Jacket.
1-5. I mean, that's a tough record in boxing.
It is.
Yeah.
And MMA is just say.
I mean, you wear your record, right? I mean, if you're 1-5, you're going to look 1-5.
Not all the time.
Okay.
Just say, me being 1-5, to be honest, I should be a good 4-2 because I was winning 3 and I got caught with an elbow that put me down and out.
Ooh.
I got caught in an armbar, and I also got caught in an Americana, and then 2 of them I took on short notice because I needed to fill in, and it was just I was hurting for money. Not gonna lie, I went in there, still fought hard.
Where'd you fight? Where do you fight?
I have fought as a pro. Most of my pro fights have been in Tennessee, but I fought in Boston twice this year, and I fought in Hollywood, Florida twice last year. I made my bare knuckle boxing debut in Mississippi in 2020, and then I fought June 26th last year for the BKFC in Hollywood, Florida, which I fought in front of 10,000 people and actually ended up getting put to sleep in 17 seconds. I caught we both threw the same punch. It was just his landed a little sooner and I went out.
Wow. What's it like to get knocked out?
I don't remember it. That's the best part about it. I wasn't hurting when I didn't realize I wasn't hurting when I got in the back. So I was emotional because, big stage, big goals ahead of me, and we both threw the same punches. His landed a little quicker.
Man, well, good luck to you. Who do you like tomorrow in the Clemson, South Carolina game?
I'm a Gamecock.
You picking the Gamecocks?
I'm picking the Gamecock.
What's your score?
21-20. 21-20.
21-20.
We're gonna block to get their game win, a PAT win.
Oh my goodness, you got it figured out.
I'm hoping we show up like we did against Tennessee and not like we showed up against Missouri.
This is true. Well, we wish you good luck.
Thank you.
Don't mess up that pretty face, all right? Thank you for coming over.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you. Okay,
Wow.
Paul here at Dayton, an MMA guy, and that's brutal.
Poor guy.
Look at Paul.
Ask him to see
he
his
looks-
ears before he walks away. Ask him to see his ears.
I told him, I said, you don't look like a guy that's been chopped up. That's why I said 1-5. That's not unfortunately, you don't want to be 1-5 in MMA, right?
No. But you don't want to do 6 fights in MMA, period. But, if you're going to go that route, you'd rather be 5-1 for sure.
Yeah, I just thought he was very interesting. Iowa State has beaten North Carolina 70-65. How about that?
Bad 5 minutes in Chapel Hill. Those 2 games almost ended simultaneously. They lose in football and basketball at the same time.
Heavy drinking in Tarboro and in Chapel Hill. Clemson is playing Iowa, and Tigers are down at the half 34-27. Tigers led by Hunter with 7, and Beadle has got 6 for the Tigers. P.J. Hall has played 5 minutes, no points. I wonder if he's hurting again. No points and 1 rebound. That doesn't sound like him. Tigers shot 35%. Reminder, we got the high school scoreboard tonight across the state. David Shelton will join me 10:05. Enjoy the game tomorrow. We look forward to talking with you about it on Monday night. Chris, thank you so much, my friend.
Yes, sir. Enjoyed it. Have a great weekend.
Pat, same to you. Have a great weekend. Thanks to the folks here at Dave and Buster's. We've had a blast, and we'll be back. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for joining us here on Sports Talk, and we'll see you Monday night on Sports Talk. Have a great weekend.
Weekdays from 7 to 9 on The Point. It's Kev and Brian in the morning. The news, the traffic 4 times an hour.